Squirrel Girl is officially coming to Marvel Strike Force. Does this mean that Khasino is quitting the game? We're gonna talk about that, plus Young Avengers, full Marauders, and a lot more on your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. And if you're ready for it, guys, Khasino, tell everybody what to do.
Boycott Squirrel Girl.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel, your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. I am joined by Khasino, and we are going to talk all about Marvel Strike Force. Lots of stuff going on this week. Fun in the Sun, Squirrel Girl, Young Avengers, and we are going to get to Squirrel Girl because you've made some pretty harsh statements about her in the past. But before we get into all that, let's talk about this Fun in the Sun. It has been a pretty fun event. What are your thoughts on this Fun in the Sun event right now? A lot of awesome milestones.
The rewards are pretty good, and it's a really good event in terms of like being considerate of the free-to-play players. Basically, if you're willing to blitz a lot, you can get all the rewards without an insane amount of effort. And then, if you had any orbs saved up, it's even easier.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty realistically achievable event.
So let me ask you this. As far as the milestones right now, where are you at personally with these milestones?
I'm right at about the halfway point.
Okay.
And I believe as of the day we're recording this, we're at like day 5 out of 10. So I think I'm right about where I'm supposed to be. But
perfect.
If I have to throw in, $20 or whatever right at the end to get the last ones, I will. But the other thing is the rewards, and I realize this is not true for most people. Like for most people, every single extra milestone they can hit, the rewards are really, really good. It's going to get a lot of people into Dark Dimension 3. But for me, as someone who's already done Dark Dimension 3 twice, I have so many of the mini uniques that if I don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I already have a 5 red star cable as well. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't feel that like intense pressure to have to clear them all. But most people ought to be, and they're really good rewards.
Yeah, I probably would be in the same situation if I already cleared Dark Dimension 3. But talking about the rewards, we got some pretty good rewards with this event. A lot of these mini uniques, 5-star upgrade. We got characters, lots of these additional orange gear, some good parts. You mentioned that Cable 5-star. We got a Deadpool 3 red star. Bunch of good stuff in here.
Yeah, you're leaving out Symbiote Spider-Man shards, Yo-Yo shards.
Oh my goodness, there's like 44 milestones here. I'm gonna leave out a lot, but yeah, you guys know what's in here. You can see that right there. Coulson's there. Red Skull is in there. Cyclops is in there. You mentioned Symbiote Spider-Man. He was in here. So a lot of good stuff. Now, what is your opinion? How does this compare to the Unity event milestones that required a lot of this blitzing and low quality time in the game? How do you think these rewards compare to each other with both of these events?
I think this might be their best set of milestones yet in terms of having really good rewards and being realistically achievable. And I think it's a good balance because people who want to just blitz all day, every day, but can't afford to spend will be able to clear them all. And then pretty much anyone who's like a working professional is probably not going to have time to do a sufficient amount of blitzing, but those are the majority of the people that would be willing to spend to clear them anyway. So have you spent any on this yet? I know you've already cleared Dark Dimension 2. It's not as valuable for you, but have you already spent on this? Just a little bit in a roundabout way. Not too much, but so like but for something unrelated, which I'm sure we'll talk about with X23, I bought a bunch of cores thinking I was going to have to open a bunch of X23 orbs, and then I got a lucky 80 shard drop on her. So I have a bunch of cores. So I've been throwing the cores at the like 150 core offer. So in a roundabout way, that's spending on it. But the actual offers that they had with the chimichangas for the most part were atrocious. So
I was actually thinking about buying one of the 20 or maybe two of the $25 offers just so I wouldn't have to blitz. But I think I don't know what the calculations were. A lot of people on stream were saying it takes maybe 3 or 4 rotations of blitz per day.
Yeah.
And I've been doing around there, and I think I'm at a pretty good pace. Plus I opened some orbs. So I think it does take only about 3 or 4 rotations. I haven't done the actual math. Have you done the actual math on this Fun in the Sun event?
Yeah, I have it written down, so I could pull it up. But and to give credit where credit's due, Live Pool actually did the numbers. I just verified them.
Okay.
But yeah, it's something like it. I think someone worked it out where like if all you do is blitz, it would be like 6 or 7 rotations of like 20 something teams. But that's
per day.
Yes, but that's if you did it like not including any arena, any raid, any orbs whatsoever, and you're going to get them from a lot of other sources. So if you literally just do your dailies every day and open a perfectly average amount of orbs that you get for free, it's like 3 or 4 rotations a day, 5 if you have a smaller roster. So
and then and you're not going to do that because you're spending energy. You're probably opening orbs. I think there's still some people that's holding them, but you get a little bit of these chimichangas for a couple arena battles in your daily achievements. You get a couple for what is it, the raid, doing a couple raid battles as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like you need all that crazy amount of blitzing, but if you love blitzing, I guess that is one way to do it.
Yeah, I would say the biggest like unfortunate drawback of this milestone event, which I still think it's a big success, and I don't mind that there are incentives for people to blitz, but the biggest drawback is that there were some important blitzes that happened right before this event, and then there's some important blitzes lined up for right after this event. So it's kind of just like a never-ending blitz gauntlet that players are being put through, and you're starting to see it show up on Reddit quite a bit. A lot of people are saying like, this is just too much freaking blitzing. Stop making me blitz, please. I don't want to have to blitz. I'm begging you.
Well, that does bring me to my next question about all this low quality time. It feels like we just had that Unity event end, which required a lot of blitzing, a lot of low quality time in the game. Now we get this Fun Under the Sun event. Both of them are great because you get both great, a lot of great rewards, but it is a lot of auto blitzing, not like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to win this battle. I'm trying to figure out what is the correct order. No, I just click auto and I have to do that a lot. And that's a lot of low quality time. Do you think this is kind of the trend? I know one of the big metrics that Foxnex wanted to look at was the amount of time spent in the game. This is a lot of time spent in the game, but I don't know if this is a lot of enjoyment of the game. What are your feelings about all these events going on? A lot of low quality time just to get these rewards.
At the end of the day, you're mainly hearing from the people complaining. Like the reason people are doing all the blitzing and complaining about it, they're still choosing to do it, right? No one has to do it. They want the rewards, so they find the rewards worth it. If they didn't find the rewards worth it, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So it's partially that, but it's also partially like, at the end of the day, people just sometimes have to express frustration. And I'm not saying like Blitz is a perfect game mode and how could anyone ever not be loving every second of it.
Far from it.
I would make major overhauls to Blitz if I had the opportunity. But it's also one of those things where like, what makes it better? So like if it was like much harder, much more challenging, would that make it not so low quality? Then you'd have people complaining like, oh, it's too hard and I'm spending time and I'm losing matches, I'm failing, I don't like this. If they make it too easy, well then it's boring. I just put it on auto. I don't even have to think about it. It's a waste of my time. It's just one of those things where at the end of the day, anything where you make people grind, it's hard to vary. And I think like Blitz, what I like about Blitz is it's constantly throwing like new combinations of teams at you. And I like, sometimes I'll come across a team and I'll be like, I don't know, this team has like Captain Marvel and Minerva on it, which those two should make me want to stay away from this team with my defenders. But then it also has, Night Nurse and a random Green Goblin.
Nebula.
So yeah, so I'm like, maybe my defenders can take this. So I like taking those matchups where I'm like, I'm not sure if I can win. I'm not sure. But I want to find out, and that's how I really get a better understanding of the characters. But at the end of the day, you make anyone do something for 8 hours of their day, or whatever. Let's say it's 25-minute rotation. You do 4 of them a day, so it's almost 2 hours, and it's every day. So it's gonna feel like a chore to some people, and there's just no way around that. So I'll simply say this: like it's among the more low quality in that, like in terms of bang for your buck for time invested, it's not as good. But it's if you're trying to get the biggest advantage you can, you have to put in the time. And these games just sometimes put stuff in where grinding it out is, that's why you get better rewards than someone else who goes, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm like, well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put in the time. So.
I mean, these games, I would say at the end of the day, it's either about how much time you spend, even if it's crappy, low quality time like this, you're still getting some good rewards for it. Or if you don't want to spend the time, there's also money. And then if you don't want to do either of those things, then you're not going to get as much resources to help you along in the game. But if you spend a lot of time in the game, a lot of money in the game, then you'll get those resources. And that's kind of how all of these games are. So it's kind of a necessary evil if you want to be playing a game like this, I think.
Absolutely. And this is a question to the viewers. I'm genuinely interested to hear what you guys have to say. So let us know in the comments. But what, in terms of playing the game, like there's a lot of different game modes. What game mode of all the game modes do you find the most fun? Because, you hear complaints, people complain, I hate raid. It's the same thing every day. People, I hate arena. I just keep losing to the same teams once I get far enough. Like there's complaints about every game mode. But at the end of the day, we all play the game because we love it. So I'm genuinely curious, and obviously we all like new campaign stages and challenges and stuff if we can actually beat it. But I'm curious what actually is you guys' favorite game mode, and what aspects of the gameplay itself do you guys really enjoy, and is there a way to translate that where you would still be enjoying it over 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a day?
I am curious as well. Let me know in the comments because I generally want to know as well. All right, another big event happened this past week, Chaos Theory. Now, this may be unapplicable for you as well. You just finished Dark Dimension 3. I don't know if you have a bunch of silver and gold promotion credits saved up, or if you used them all, and you've also used it during this past event. Have you spent any of your promotion credits recently because of this event or Dark Dimension 3? And
yes,
if so, which character or characters? It sounds like you've done a bunch. Yes. Curious.
They give you, when you finish Dark Dimension 3, they give you enough silver and gold promotion credits to take someone that you have no red stars on, all the way up to 7 red stars. So I did not take someone with no red stars up to 7, but I took my Mr. Sinister to 7 right away.
Okay.
And I actually had enough left over before I even did the Wakanda event to take us another person immediately to 7. So I'm sitting on right now like 220 something.
Who? Yeah, Sinister and who? Oh, you had it. You just didn't use it.
I still have it. I can still take someone else to 7. So right now I have a 7 Shuri and a 7 Sinister. And as a side note, I asked a little while back which player in the game has the most 7 red stars, trying to figure it out. And we asked a bunch of people. And right now, I don't think they want their name out there, but so far, the person I've heard with the most characters is 7 red stars. There's someone with 18 of them.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. And
Whaley McWill or Lucky McLuck. I don't know which one it is. It's
absolutely both.
Yeah, it has to be, right? to get those many opportunities, to be that lucky with those many opportunities.
That is, yeah, it's way too. I have 2, and I've spent quite a bit, and I spent plenty of time on the game. 18 is quite a bit more than 2.
All right, so Sinister, 7 stars with the Dark Dimension 3. Anybody addition with Chaos Theory? All right, who is Chaos Theory this past week?
Chaos Theory gave me enough silver to comfortably take someone to 5, and Taskmaster just got put in the elite shop.
Nice choice.
And I took Taskmaster to gear tier 14 anyway, so I did that very quickly. He's such an overpowered character.
Wait, you're not saving all your orange gear for gear tier 15?
I don't know,
because that kind of screwed a lot of people going up to going everybody to 13, and then when you get to 14, people were like, a little behind.
As is always the case with hoarding, you can be screwed now or you can be screwed later. So who's to say that I would have not lost wars if I or would have lost wars if I had a weaker Taskmaster.
Fair point. That is true.
It's always now versus later. But I'll say this: I can take plenty of characters still to gear tier 40. Basically, when you finish Dark Dimension 3 the second time, you're pretty good. I have enough mini uniques to take anyone. I have enough catalysts to take anyone. I can take people to gear tier 14.
Lucky. I don't have as much. I'm still working on getting through Dark Dimension 3 once, but I did do the Chaos Theory. Thanos, 6-star. Red star, so happy about that. I didn't have enough to get the 7th, but that made a difference.
You will get enough to get the 7th when you finish DD3, and let me just say, or literally earlier today, I was testing Duarctic's counter, and I want to give a shout out to Duarctic. He came up with another Black Order counter, and it uses a bunch of characters that most people have. Actually, it's Mystique, Mr. Sinister, Magneto, Ultron, and Phoenix.
Okay.
and it works really, really well. He has a video on it.
And you're talking arena? You're talking arena?
Yep. It smashes Black Order. DUARKTIK, I believe is how you spell his name, Duarctic. But look it up. It's great team. Was messing around with it, and I was punching up 40k, 50k without too much trouble, and then I ran into a couple of 7 red star Thanoses on Black Order. Woo! They made it difficult. There were some failures there.
Yeah, the 6 is a lot better than the 5, but the 7 is so much better than the 6. It's crazy. Now, what is that team again? I heard Magneto and Phoenix. Who are the other 3?
Mystique, Mr. Sinister, and Ultron. Mystique, Mr. Sinister, and Ultron. I actually just asked Duarctic. I feel really bad because he put out a video saying this is the team, this is how it works, and they crush. And I was showing it off on stream, and so many people were like, you need to make a video about this Khasino. I'm like, he already made a video about it. I'm not just gonna make his video again and be like, but now from me. So I reached out to him earlier, and I was like, do you want to collab? Like, I want more people to see your video. I keep telling people to go watch your video, but if you want to collab, that way I at least have you on my video so you could tell people. But yeah, it was his idea. But the idea behind it, so basically, Mystique, you open with the Mystique special, and she flips positive effects. So she most of the time takes the taunt off of Cull Obsidian, which allows your Mr. Sinister to clone anyone. So he'll clone like an Ebony Maw, but then this is where it gets really good. Magneto opens with his blinds, and if he lands blinds on Cull, Proxima, Corvus, it negates so much damage, and he can blind everyone except Ebony. And those blinds, like Thanos missing his basics is amazing. Cull missing all his retaliation is amazing. Proxima and Corvus just whiffing everything. You're so safe for so long. And then Mystique is able to use a basic on the Cull Obsidian once he has some death proofs from being hit a bunch.
Yes.
And then Mr. Sinister takes those death proofs and all the other buffs and gives them to any mutant or clone. And Mystique, Magneto, and Phoenix and himself are all mutants. And then the clones, so it's just death proof everywhere.
Right. That sounds like fun. All right. After this video, awesome. I'm gonna use that team again. I'm gonna find a Black Order in arena. I'm gonna test this out. That sounds fun. I did
it all stream. They were whooping them. And like I said, the rarest character that you need is Phoenix, and then like arguably Mr. Sinister, depending on where you have him. But you don't need a giant Mr. Sinister either. It's working really well, man.
All right, I'm curious. I gotta check it out right after this. And that brings us to this girl right here. You have been hating on her for so long, and it is official on the Marvel Strike Force official website, marvelstrikeforce.com. Squirrel Whisperer, she is finally coming to the game. I know this is the moment you have been fearing for so long. Before we even get into Squirrel Girl, what is going to happen with you? You said you're going to quit if Howard the Duck's not coming. What's going on?
So too many people have been saying from day one, like, Khasino hates Squirrel Girl so much, he's going to get a 7 red star Squirrel Girl. Just you wait and see. So I have to at least stick around and see if that meme becomes a reality. So at the very least, I have to do a Whale Wars for Squirrel Girl and see if
this could be your third. This could be your third. I'm rooting for you, brother.
I hope not, man. I hope not.
Cool. All right. Well, with that settled, I guess we're gonna at least see a "Don't Buy Red Stars" video, or I don't know what it's called nowadays. But
we've just gone back to Whale Wars at this point.
Whale Wars,
yeah. Yeah, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, let's talk about her kit, or I guess her incomplete kit. We don't know her base stats. We don't know any of the numbers of this, but this is looking pretty good. I was talking to OMG about this special Eat Nuts right here. Clearing all negative effects from allies, some pretty good healing, 3-turn cooldown. This seems like a very, very good move. Some good synergy with this young Avengers team. What are your thoughts on this kit as of what we know about this kit so far?
Right, and so it always comes with the disclaimer of, like how much drain, that could be a big difference. And, so many of these numbers can radically change the effectiveness of the character. But at the end of the day, having a full clear of all negative effects on all allies on a 3 energy cost turn 1 ability means that you'll probably be seeing a lot of Squirrel Girl in a lot of game modes, just because she renders your team essentially debuff proof with just a little bit of energy. So yeah, drains
more health, not just Squirrel Girl, but America Chavez. It's hard to say how good this team is going to be without knowing all the stuff, but it looks like it has some potential, like a little better version of Hero Brawlers.
A lot of promise. Well, a lot of better version. A lot of better version.
I guess
more health,
a lot
drain,
better version.
defense up. The thing is, like, the Hero Brawlers, the main thing that they've been lacking this entire time. They don't have that much protection. They have like Miss Marvel jumping in and taunting. That's their protection. Now they get more health, they get drain, they get defense up when they get low. They have suddenly tons of protection. All of a sudden, you get all their offense, and now you get a ton of defense as well. So, yeah, it's going to make them a very well-rounded
team. She does add
team.
a lot to this team. She gives them drain, the more max health, like you said, this healing. I mean, this is exactly what this team was missing.
And now you have Miles joining as well, and Miles is bringing disrupt, turn meter, rewind, clearing on basic, which is nice. So now you have America Chavez ult that clears. You have if you run Captain Marvel special can clear. You'll have the basic from Miles that'll clear. So yeah, the Young Avengers have a lot of promise, and yeah.
All right, I got to ask the obvious question. We got 4 characters right here on the Young Avengers that we know about so far. As far as who is in the game right now, who would you use as a 5th on this team right just off the top of your head? Unless you've been thinking about this for a while.
Yeah, I've been asked this quite a bit. Probably Spider-Man. Just because he's another hero brawler. He'll give defense downs, which is really, really good for them to attack into. And now the 3 symbiotes can pretty much get paired with any 2 people. Like, not that you ought to, but you could probably put 2 Ravager minions with your 3 symbiotes and get pretty good results out of them. Yeah, and probably Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man, I mean, the other homeless tunes are going to be Gamora. I don't know how well she would fit on this tune, but she's not going to have a home after this team comes out. And the other one that's kind of a fringe between Avengers and Hero Brawlers for a lot of people, Captain Marvel. Do you see her as a lot more effective than Spider-Man on this team, or she already has a home and you don't want to ruin that?
Right, both. So she will, like, Captain Marvel brings just a ton to any team she's on, so she'll be amazing on this team. But from what we're seeing here, it looks like this team is going to be just fine anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, like, right now, not that this is necessarily the optimal place for Captain Marvel, but to give you an idea, right now in Blitz, my Captain Marvel is just with Ronin and some Kree minions, and it makes that team insanely reliable. And then there's the non-minion Kree team, which, again, most players don't really have to worry about the non-minion Kree team because it's a pretty late game team, but Ultimus, Korath, Kree, Cyborg, and Minerva work great with Captain Marvel as the 5th. I have Vision there because 4 of them are tech, and then Ultimus protects himself really well with all his block and everything. And if he does die, Minerva can revive him. So Vision is great there, but Captain Marvel's good there. She's good on a Ronin Kree minion team. She can carry an Avenger team, like an old Avenger team, if you want to make, just like Captain America, Black Widow, Captain Marvel. You can pretty much any team you put her on in Blitz, they're probably going to be okay. So she'll do great on this team, but it doesn't look like she'll be needed here. And there are other teams that could really use her help.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, she's such a strong character. You could pretty much put her on whatever team. I mean, within reason, Kree, Avengers, there's certain teams that work well with her.
You don't even have to be within reason. You put her on your Sinister Six. They'll do great too. It's for real.
I haven't tried that, but I guess so, especially in war defense. But looking pretty good with this. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this team. So this was an image posted by all social media on the Marvel Strike Force accounts, your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff. We see some images here. We see some sand. We see some water. We see some footprints in the sand. We see an acorn in the sand, a diamond in the sand. And I guess most players know what this is. The acorn represents Doreen. This represents Hank, and this is Emma right here. So we've had some previous discussion of Emma on the official Facebook account of Marvel Strike Force. Emma Frost was mentioned last week. The rumors were that an X-Men was coming to the game, and it looks like this indicates an X-Men. Before we get into all these characters, what are your? Let's talk about Emma first. The rumor is she's supposed to be on the Marauders. What do you think the need that needs to be filled on that team? What are you hoping that she's going to fill for that team?
Defense up on spawn. If she has that and literally anything else, I'll be happy. because Strife needs it.
He does. Maybe there'll be some good synergy when she's on the field. Strife gets a little beefier. The other things I was just thinking off the top of my head. Obviously, I haven't seen her kit, but the word that Drew said is she's going to provide a lot of boosts. So maybe defense up. Maybe ability energy was the other thing that crossed my head with this, because one of the big problems of Mr. Sinister is you can't clone. I mean, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's too overpowered if you could do this, but not being able to clone multiple times per battle, unless the battle goes really, really long. So do you think maybe giving ability energy to Mr. Sinister, maybe some of these other Marauders would be something, including their kit, or just the standard buffs, defense up, things like that?
I mean, any of it would be good, right? Like they like buffs. I currently have Kingpin as the 5th for a lot of things, and it's because they, defense up, offense up, assists, all good stuff. But if they got counters, if they got evade, if they got immunity, and any positive effects you give them, they'll make use of. As far as the ability energy, it's really just his cloning ability that's got a crazy energy cost.
Yeah.
And if you use Strife's taunt basically after Sinister is cloned, it's not that crazy. Like I was just telling you about that counter to the Black Order teams I was using with Sinister on it. Yeah. In plenty of the fights, when it would go late enough, he would get to the point where he would clone a second time. So depending on how often she could give ability energy, you don't like I have a 7 red star Sinister. I would be perfectly happy if he could just make a clone army in barely any time. Just give him energy every turn. I love it. But yeah, that'd be
fun.
Yeah, I'm easily most excited for Emma if she's going to be a Marauder, because I have the 7 red star Sinister, and I would love an opportunity to just make my Marauders incredible. So
if the rumors are true, which I'm not sure if they are, that apparently that is what you're going to be able to do. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Let's talk about this other thing in the sand right here, these footprints. One of the comments was, is this Chewbacca? I guess Beast. Beast is the most likely candidate, right?
Probably Beast.
All right, so the speculation way back in the day when his kit was originally data mined, he was going to replace Phoenix on that X-Men team, make them raid viable. Now, I don't think we had Ultima 7 at the time. So do you think, at some of these higher difficulties, even with a crazy Beast, if you took out one of these X-Men characters, would this team be raid viable? Does the rest of the team have enough sustainability to make it through some of these harder stages of Ultima 7? Because everything else is not as bad, in my opinion. Ultima 6, the rest of the Greek raids.
No, absolutely they do. They have a lot of tools. I mean, you have Psylocke, who, whenever someone drops below 50%, they're getting the evade and the counter, which is nice. And then if any amount of healing is provided, they can go back up above 50% and gain that again. And then Colossus gives everyone deflects, which is good. Phoenix was giving everyone defense up, but obviously, again, if Beast can reliably keep giving them defense up, they'll be really tanky. And then, again, depending on Colossus's interactions, Colossus with Phoenix is, I believe, still the most unbreakable tank. Cull might take a hit slightly better, but Colossus will not go quietly into the night. He will taunt for many turns, and very few characters can tell him to stop. So yeah, I think they have a really solid tank, and if they just had a tiny bit more protection and some consistent healing, Psylocke, will basically make them debuff proof, at least at certain intervals when it would be really dangerous. If you have Wolverine on there, he's self-healing. If you have Cyclops on there, he at least has an AoE that slows everyone for multiple turns when he fires it off. So they certainly have the tools. The big thing that we've been waiting to see is Beast's passive looked a lot like Phoenix's passive, not the spawning a Dark Phoenix or any of that, but what he brought to the team was basically the same thing that Phoenix brought to the team. And my speculation as soon as we saw that was, it looks like they want him to be the Phoenix replacement for Raid, for example, where it's like, well, Phoenix brings all this, but then she gets herself killed. If Beast brings all this and then doesn't get himself killed, he's better than her for Raid. But the first thing we noticed was, well, if they stack with one another, which it appeared to in the early versions at least, you would just run both and make the characters just crazy strong. And then even if Phoenix dies, like everyone's just getting so much health and damage and all this stuff. So I'm expecting, and not based on any evidence whatsoever, but if they want Beast to be the Phoenix replacement for Raid, they would have to have Beast basically have a line that kind of like how Yo-Yo's like, if there are no other protectors, Beast would have to have a, like, if there are no Phoenix allies.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be cool. I don't know. I don't remember his kit off the top of my head. So I just remember there's a lot of healing on all the moves. And I don't even, every character that we've seen their kit data mined, and maybe I'm forgetting someone, but I'm thinking of Cyclops, Red Skull, Okoye. Before they actually came to the game, they had some big changes to their kit. So I mean, do you expect some minor changes? I mean, or something major? Like maybe Beast is not even a healer. Maybe he's something else, like totally deviating from what we've seen in data mines.
Well, so I mean, we've seen his ability icons, and one of his ability icons has like a bunch of the plus signs. So he's gonna heal.
Okay, so not too far outside of the box. What changes do you think?
I think
would expect. What change are you expecting?
It seems right. I go. It seems like he's supposed to be the raid support. Like that's what they're going for from him. Is they want him to be the raid support. He's supposed to be the single unit that converts them. Kind of like how before Mantis, the Guardians weren't a great raid team, just as the Guardians. But then once you got Mantis, it's like, no, this team. They may not be the best raid team, but they're a capable raid team. If you have a giant version of them, they'll be fine. I think it's a very similar situation with X-Men. I think Beast is supposed to kind of convert them into a raid team. So I think they're not going to go away from that purpose. As for how heavy-handed they are and how strong he makes them, we'll see. But we never saw, unlike some of the other characters, we never saw a finalized Beast kit. We saw sometimes it was missing numbers. Sometimes it was just like only the level 7 version of the ability, but none of the other ones.
Okay. So anything we saw wasn't even at that stage of Okoye, Cyclops.
Right, but
way more preliminary.
Yes, but let me also say, we've seen many, many times they change character kits literally up until like the day that they go into the game. If I remember correctly, there was something about a new character at one point with the Envoy thing where they were like, we think we can send you this stuff, and we get, or I shouldn't say we anymore, but envoys that I'm aware of get the information on new characters like 3 days before everyone gets the information.
It's been like the previous night in some cases, not even 3 days.
many times.
Sometimes it's not even that.
Many times it was the night before, and so we've seen them make comments like, let me just make sure real quick that those kits are finalized like that many days out. And what we've also seen them do is, at least once, they've had a patch where there were like 4 characters in the patch, and the day of the patch, only 2 of the characters were actually visible on the roster because the other 2 were still being worked on. So you couldn't even see them because their kits weren't even locked in the patch they released.
That's why they don't always show up right when the update drops.
Yeah, because sometimes they're still, work in progress. And it's because they learned. If you remember, at one point, Cyclops was visible on the roster. Yeah. And his kit changed. I
think that was a bug, though, right? Or was it Phoenix that was a bug? And I don't remember. I don't think they were supposed to be seen as.
Maybe not, but they hit him right away, probably because he wasn't finalized. But then people had like screenshots and stuff of that kit, and then were mad when the Cyclops we got didn't match the kit that showed up in the live game briefly. So yeah, the fact of the matter is, they probably, as we're having this discussion, if I had to guess, they're probably still working out the details of Beast kit.
Fair enough. So probably, most likely, I guess, still a healer, but could be totally different than what we've seen in the past.
Well, a healer support, I think, is most accurate. He was doing a lot of buffs, a lot of utility. He wasn't just a crazy healer. Like Mantis, for the most part, is a healer. He was like a support style healer that brought a lot of tools and stuff in addition to healing.
Okay, yeah, I'm remembering healing. I don't remember much else of his kit. So.
The one thing that I remember most distinctly about him that I thought was really cool was he had an ability that gave different buffs and different perks to different types of characters. So it was something like if they're a protector, they get 2 death proof, but if they're blaster, they get offense up, and if they're a controller,
yeah, that does sound. We talked about it about a year ago on this very news. Yeah, okay, I do remember now that you mentioned that. So hopefully it'll be a cool kit. Hopefully it'll be a cool kit. So we'll wait till it's officially announced, I guess. And speaking of abilities not matching, you have some information about X-23 and one of her skills not really working like it's supposed to.
Yes, and this is one of the rare ones where, for the most part, it's in the player's favor. So I like it, but
I was just talking to OMG earlier today, thinking, oh, this is the first character we've had that's not bugged, but
I know.
yes, no, the shriek continues, guys.
I heard that. I had that video on in the background, and I went, oh no.
All right, let's correct it. Let's correct it. Oh yeah, and another mistake I made earlier, Miss Marvel, all heroes, not just hero brawlers. So.
Yeah.
Correcting mistakes. All right, let's go on. What is the mistake in X-23?
So, and again, I think for the most part, this one is a good mistake. But so this actually is very relevant to the mercenary matchup. So if you weren't aware, the X-Force just destroys the mercenaries at even power, and they can punch up on them quite a bit. A lot of people aren't seeing it yet because the two most important pieces of that equation are Negasonic Teenage Warhead and X-23. And very few people have strong Negasonic and strong X-23, and most of the mercenary teams you're fighting, are a lot of 6 and 7 gold star and high red star. But if you want, I can send you the footage. I have a video about it. But they tear them apart, and in part, it's because of how the X-23 special actually works. So the X-23 special says that the primary attack, if it's blocked or dodged, then she does a bonus attack, and it says the bonus attack is unavoidable.
Okay, yes.
So to start with the definitions here, unavoidable, everywhere else that it's used in the game, which is why I'm saying that this is inaccurate, everywhere else in the game, unavoidable means cannot miss and can't be dodged. That's what unavoidable means. There are other things, for example, an attack can be unblockable or something, but unavoidable has always meant it can't miss and it can't be dodged. It's going to hit you. And so saying the bonus attack is unavoidable is technically incorrect. The first part of this is it's technically ever so slightly mildly worse only in a scenario that'll never show up. The bonus attack is not unavoidable. It is only cannot be dodged. It can miss. However, you'll never really run into that because even though the bonus attack can miss, that'll only occur if the first attack was blocked or dodged. So she would have to be blind and then have like a bullseye giving her extra accuracy. And then she'd have to attempt the special and still hit it to then get blocked or dodged. And then she would probably miss the bonus attack. So that'll never come up. But if in the future they add in some character that gives a bunch of accuracy, like 50% accuracy, that might actually start popping up. But here's the part of it that's actually very good. While it is correct that it cannot be dodged, it also cannot be blocked. It actually renders the target minus 300% dodge chance, minus 300% block chance. And so that is a big deal because you're usually using this on turn 1 into people that have deflect. And the best use of this ability is to ability block Taskmaster. If it were blockable, Taskmaster has something like 50% block amount, which would mean he would have a 50% chance to not be ability blocked. But since it's unblockable, it does two things. One, it's gonna ability block him unless, and you can see in War, 10,000% extra focus, so it's gonna ability block him. And more importantly, a lot of times it just kills him immediately because he can't block it, and he's actually pretty squishy. He relies on blocking to not die. So I've hit the first attack is hit for like 40,000 damage.
That's the Negasonic attack you're talking?
No. This ability.
This one. Okay.
Specifically this special, the primary hits for again, in the footage I have between 40 and 60,000 on the first one.
Okay.
And it gets blocked. The second one, because it can't be blocked, I've seen it crit for 160,000. Just annihilate. Nice. Just Taskmaster just disappears. It's amazing. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's a small thing, but it says unavoidable. Technically, it can miss, although it never really will. But it's also unblockable, and that's a good thing. So.
All right, so this is one where they're hoping we're hoping that Scopely will fix the wording on this to make it match what's in the game.
Yeah.
They've done in the past, and it's made the skill worse. If they match the wording what's in the game, it'll make it better. So even.
I'm pretty confident that they intended for X-Force to counter the mercenaries, because again, at even power, it's not even close. At even power, they just dismantle the mercenaries, and a lot of times they do that where they'll have like a war defense team will have like one strong legendary hard counter and then one strong non-legendary counter, if you remember. So like Supernatural is a really good non-legendary counter to Coulson, and Power Armor is a really good non-legendary counter to Hydra. So I think X-Force are a strong non-legendary counter to Asgardians, who also don't have a legendary, and to mercenaries.
All right, and it looks like the legendary Drax event has returned. How excited are you for that we can finally get Drax on our roster?
Super excited.
Drax, I've been using Drax a lot on my Fantastic Four team, and he I guess he's in disguise here. How much have you been using Drax, aka Invisible Woman?
We're just gonna confuse the heck out of people. If you're not getting the joke, I assume most people are.
All right. Yes. Listen, explain it. There's people that won't get it, especially the people listening to the podcast that I'm talking about this tweet right here. So please explain what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So there's this big joke that Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies has said that if he holds perfectly still, he can become invisible. And obviously it's ridiculous. No one calls him out on it. But so
he just disappeared from my frame. I thought everybody saw that.
Right, exactly. So so they've been leaning into this joke. So they're showing promos for the Invisible Woman event and calling it the Drax Legendary event.
All right, so. Bad jokes aside, what do you think of Invisible Woman?
I like her a lot. She has two major drawbacks. Like what she does very well. The problem is almost every other legendary is pretty plug and play. Like you put them on the team and you're going to get what you expect to get. And yeah, like just them being there is going to be super impactful. The problem is for what Sue does, she has two major drawbacks. One, her cooldowns are very long. And so while she does a great job at protecting people, she can't do it very often. And there are not as many game modes where you really need heavy protection. Like Raid is the primary one. And so while she does give excellent protection, because it's so long before she can do it again, she's not a super strong Raid pick. She's far from like a bad Raid option, but she really needs energy bad. And then the other thing is she's pretty slow. And so again, while she offers excellent protection, in a lot of instances, like, so you're like, all right, so maybe I won't use her that much in Raid. Let me try her in Arena. And the problem is in Arena, there's a lot of opportunities for people to die before she gets her first turn because she's pretty slow. And it's not, she doesn't even have like a mechanic where like if someone else is on her team, she'll go a lot earlier or a way for someone to feed her speed bar or anything. So she is very strong. And when you get to use her abilities, they are very impactful. But how often you can use them and when you're first able to use them, both detract from her. I have believed for a long time that eventually there will be a replacement for Namor that I expect to, at a minimum, give her a bunch of energy and ideally also speed her up quite a bit or give them speed up on spawn or something. But yeah, if she just had like speed up on spawn and, you know, every time, you know, a Fantastic Four member with barrier gets hit, there's a 20% chance for her to gain energy, something like that. She would just be so much better. So she's very strong, but unfortunately, in terms of legendaries that protect people, you're better off going with Shuri or Ebony in most instances, which is unfortunate. And she doesn't work with Yo-Yo because she's an actual protector. So,
all right. Well, with that said, newer players just getting the Sinister Six, first time this is popping around. Maybe they're close. Maybe they see this offer in the store right now for all these Sinister Six characters, wondering, should I invest in this to unlock Invisible Woman? She's not a perfect character like you said, but I think she has enough value that she is a character that a lot of players should be going for, especially newer players. She is a character that even late game I'm still using in every single game mode. Maybe not an arena, not to just show me that new team, but I'm still using that Invisible Woman to counter Black Order in arena right now, as well as a backup character in Ultima 7, and of course on that full Fantastic Four team. So what are your thoughts on her for newer players that don't have her unlocked? Is it worth buying that offer for all those shards if you don't have her unlocked?
Absolutely. Well, not only will that offer get you closer to 2 legendaries, but again, she's, like you said, she's still one of the better characters in the game, hands down. Just the reason you don't see her used all the time like some of the other legendaries are because she has those limitations. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think the Fantastic Four team is very modular. Pretty much everyone thinks sooner or later we'll get Silver Surfer, sooner or later we'll get Doctor Doom, sooner or later, maybe Franklin Richards. Like, there's so many characters that they could bring in that are popular, well-known characters, and any of those characters that, again, just give her speed up on spawn or feed her a little bit of energy, and suddenly it's like a combo made in heaven, and suddenly she's incredibly, incredibly powerful. So I would feel there's certain characters where it's pretty safe to invest in them because there's more to come. Kind of like, and so just to slightly go off topic, like we have to get Medusa for the Inhumans eventually.
Yes.
Right? With that, sooner or later, it's gonna happen.
I was surprised when Quake was the 5th of that team. I did think it was going to be Medusa.
Right. Well, I think it's part of their new strategy of let the team be good as it is, and then once the team falls down in the hierarchy, then you show up at a later date and you go, is this the piece you were missing to bring them back in the spotlight? And then you get people who already worked on that team, like, oh, I have to buy this character and restore my team to their former glory. And then you have the people who are hyped for the new character going, oh, I have to go work on that other team because now they're good. Let me bring them up to speed. So they know what they're doing. And so I think Fantastic Four is absolutely one of those teams where we've not seen the last of the Fantastic Four. And even if they're not the absolute kings of the game today, mark my words, the Fantastic Four will be making a reappearance as a powerhouse team. I'd bet good money on it.
I hope you're right. I've been waiting for this team to become more and more versatile. Right now, as a full team, Fantastic Four for me is just Blitz and War. I wish I could use them in more game modes, but that's all it's been for me. So it would be nice if other characters made them more viable. Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer made them arena team, made them a raid team. I would love that. Just investing in this, And you mentioned they've done this in the past. Yeah. Cyclops, Coulson, right now with Emma Frost for this Marauders team. So they do like to do this stuff. So this
exactly.
Buddy and Silver Surfer could be the keys when Fantastic Four starts falling off the map a little bit.
Right, and if you end up replacing some members of Fantastic Four, Sue will not be the one you're replacing. So
no, she's the only one that I use all of the plays of that team right now.
Right. She is again. She's a little bit behind the curve in terms of how much use she sees compared to other legendaries, but that's not to take away from her.
Compared to other legendaries, I would agree, but I still use her more than most other characters in general. So.
She has a weird tempo, but how I would describe her is my issue with her is that you don't get to press her buttons often enough or when you want to. But when you do press that button, the results are
feels good. Good, right?
Everything she does is super effective. So yeah,
agreed.
Quick fix.
Ironheart, just before we started recording, got added to the Ultimus Basic Premium Mega Orbs. Is it just me, or does it seem like they're moving these characters quicker through this cadence, or am I just is time just flying faster for me? I don't know. No,
they're picking it up. They're picking up the pace because people have been demanding it. People have been asking. I mean, we've been saying this for 2.5 years. This is one of the things that I've been, saying until I get blue in the face. It's like, I've played other games like this where they have, like, your players appreciate when you have an established release schedule so they can play around. Like, you'll sell more offers if people know, let me set aside my Christmas money because this offer should be coming in 2 weeks, or I'm gonna make sure whatever. I'm gonna ask for a Google Play gift card for my birthday because 2 weeks after that is so and so's offers coming out. Like, people want to plan around their characters, and so yeah, I'm glad that they're picking up the pace on this. But it is funny that Cable's the one getting removed from the Mega Orb. Hey, congratulations, Cable! You finally have a relevant team. Congratulations. Enjoy your moment in the spotlight and get out of the Mega Orb.
No more Mega Orbs for you. Now he is farmable, so it's not the worst thing. I like this, though. I like that they're removing farmable characters from this Mega Orb to keep it a little more, I don't know if sacred is too strong of a word, but to keep it a little more, I was going to say premium, but we already have to keep it a little more special. I don't know if that's the right word, exclusive? But I think you get the exclusive is a much better word. Prestigious is a good word, too, but yes. You're like the thesaurus here.
Sometimes, but just funny take on this. I need Ironheart shards more than I need Cable shards, so I'm glad it's her going in and not him. But Cable's a better character right now. I think I'd rather Cable's stronger, I think.
And the top symbiote looks like his milestones are coming back tomorrow, as of us recording this, and as probably today if you're watching this, the day this is released. But July 8th is when Symbiote Spider-Man is returning. This is going to be his third and final time. Thoughts on Symbiote Spider-Man? Players that are just starting this game, should they be really pushing these milestones? I don't know how long this is going to last. Do you think, how many shards on average do you think most players are going to get? I can't remember what it was the first 2 times.
There's not only is there no standardized amount of time for this to last, but in the past they launch it without even knowing how long they want it to last. And maybe they do have a target end date for this one, but for one of the previous ones, they just put it live and then it didn't say ending in. It just had no end date. And then after a few weeks, then they put it in. And the first indication that we started to figure out when it was supposed to end is people had been sending in support tickets, and one person in support just responded yes, it's currently planned to end on this date. And then everyone was like, oh, and posted it to Reddit. And that's how everyone got the news, was either someone in support said something they weren't supposed to, or Foxnex forgot to tell us, whatever it is. But
the way I'm hearing that is they know exactly when it's going to end. They just, it might be changing, so they don't want to make it public yet.
Yeah, they may have.
That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I'm hearing right now.
Well, yes. I doubt that they are totally clueless and have no idea about when they want it to end. But it's one of those things where this is going to go on until they have the next one ready to start, and they may not know exactly how long that takes or whatever. But yeah, so there is no standard amount of time. Tomorrow, we'll have to see. We might find out tomorrow, because it might just be in the game under the events tab saying ends in such and such amount of days. But if it doesn't, they might just wait an unspecified amount of time and then randomly add in halfway through, oh, by the way, ending on this day. So there's no way to know. And it's the same for how many shards should people expect to get. There's no way to know. I wish they would tell us this stuff, but...
hopefully if you're a newer player, you have a chance to at least unlock this character, because this is one of the better characters, especially for that city node, Dark Dimension 3. Would you say he's required for that city node? Unless you would just want to, unless you're just a masochist and want to go in with Punisher or someone.
Yeah. So exactly. To answer your original question, how good is Symbiote Spider-Man? I can't believe he's not a legendary. He is got to be the best controller in the game. He is a one-man army. He literally does it all. Crazy health, crazy damage, crazy survivability with the dodging. The control effects are incredible. His basic is multi-target, multi-turn defense down. I think it's can't be dodged or counterattacked. It's just, his kit is just overloaded. He is unbelievably good. And then his synergies that he has with the other 2 symbiotes, as a 3-piece, they're better than most teams of 5. It's just insane. I hosted a PvP tournament, I think a couple weeks ago, and in a match in the finals, the 3 symbiotes came back and won against 5 people.
How did that drafting happen? Let someone get 3 symbiotes on their team.
Well, interestingly, the other player had a bunch of really top tier characters. I think it was Mr. Sinister and stuff like that. But the symbiotes are an amazing counter to Ultron. As soon as he gets the bots on the field, they just have a field day and start crushing them all. Yeah.
But Hella, maybe.
Oh,
maybe
they have a field day.
Any
I
other
use symbiotes in
yeah.
every single war to just demolish an Asgardian team every single time. Yeah, I have an absolute field day. But yeah, they are so good, and it's Symbiote Spider-Man is the linchpin for sure. Like what they all do is very useful. But yeah, the short version is Symbiote Spider-Man is easily one of the best characters in the game, no question. And as far as characters at that level, he's probably the easiest one to get, at least with in the current
while
situation.
The milestones are going on.
Right, yeah. So yeah, go as hard for him as you can. I have a very strong Symbiote Spider-Man, and every day I thank RNGesus for giving me 6 red stars on him, because he is just incredible.
And guys, if you're very close to getting into that city node and don't have him unlocked, this is a character that you probably want to push for. Dark Dimension 3 makes it very, very a lot easier. So I've heard.
Oh, he will literally solo the city section.
Roland Blitz going on right now. Graviton coming up this Fridays. These scores are probably going to be really crazy. Not just because Graviton is not one of the more easily farmable characters. He is farmable in the war store, but that's not the easiest place to farm that character. Plus, we got these fun and a stun milestones going on, so I think a lot of people are still going to be blitzing. Graviton, what are your thoughts on him as a character nowadays? I don't know how much aim is used nowadays. And what do you think this blitz scores are going to be this weekend with all these different factors?
I'm curious to see. We're expecting Graviton to fetch decent numbers. Most people don't have a 7-star Graviton because he's a war store farm, and there's arguably higher priority war store farms. And then a lot of people go for the gear as well. But Graviton is a very, very top tier character, and I say this, and I don't know, there's always people who like roll their eyes when I make a comment like this, but I promise you, for people who've been following my content for a while, they know I have not been wrong about this stuff. Graviton is really, really good, and he has suffered from most people not having him strong enough for enough people to tinker around and find the right comp for him. But what his kit provides, Graviton will become super relevant at some point. I'm very, very sure of it. He does a lot on his own, a targeted stun and doing damage per debuff. Like he is so good on so many teams. He's an incredibly, incredibly good plug and play controller. And what really is just so amazing about him, which we haven't seen really capitalized on yet, is his passive. When someone drops below 50%, he extends all their debuffs. But so let me just paint one scenario for you. This is just one thing that you can do. And again, we haven't seen this show up too much yet, but back in the day, there was a Storm Scarlet Witch raid team. And the idea was Storm would save up all of her charges, and then she would unleash a special. And that special would stun and slow absolutely everyone on the field. And then Scarlet Witch would use her extend, and now everyone on the field is stunned and slowed for 2 turns. If you have Graviton as part of that team, and you're able to drop those targets below 50% health, now everyone is stunned and slowed for 3 turns. He is a combo maker for sure. And so yeah, I highly recommend Graviton. Like, I have a handful of characters that it upsets me that I can't make crazy strong just because a situation has not presented itself yet where it makes sense to do it. But Graviton is on my list of characters that I want to power up, because he will for sure show up and be a big deal at some point.
Well, how much do you think you're going to lose taking him off aim and putting him maybe on symbiotes? We were just talking about symbiotes. Would that be worth that trade-off? Because that'll make the symbiotes better. It's going to make aim a lot worse, though. Is it worth that trade-off to move him to a different team? Because we have some other minions that can fit on that aim team. Just
correct. It's situational. He is like a big boost to the aim team, but he's a big boost to any team. He's just really, really good. But I think you're thinking of it as like, does it make sense to pull him off this team? But when it comes to things like Blitz, it doesn't matter as long as the 2 teams win. So like, maybe he's better on symbiotes, but symbiotes are going to win anyway, and aim is going to win anyway. So it doesn't really matter. What I'm thinking is something like a raid team, where on a raid team, you're not thinking, well, if I put them on this raid team, am I pulling them off? No, it's just, I'm using a raid team, or I'm using an arena team. So I think he'll show up at some point in arena, in raid, maybe some crazy combo for PvP, who knows? But I I think he'll be showing up somewhere where you won't really have to worry about what team he ought to be on.
Red team makes sense. Red team makes sense. Maybe with the 3 symbiotes, him and Scarlet Witch. I don't know. Just I don't know.
There'll be some crazy combo where you can like load a crazy amount of debuffs on one person and then use Hela to spread them to everyone and then use Graviton to double them all. You can get crazy. He's a crazy combo maker. And again, you don't see a lot of it because most people aren't heavily investing in them. And because I think as of today, right now, that combo, there isn't a crazy good use for that combo today, but it just takes one really good controller to do something crazy, and all of a sudden, like if one person gets they can Hela ult, but they can spread stun. Also, it's like pair that person with Graviton. That is waiting to happen. So, Graviton's worth it. I want to power him up, and his basic doing additional damage for every debuff. Oh my God, when you load someone up, I've seen his basic do like 200,000 damage, something so stupid.
His special increases damage per debuff too, or is that his ultimate? I know one of his other moves. One of his other moves does a bunch of other damage based on debuffs as well. So two of his big moves. Yeah. The more debuffs is a lot extra damage.
Yeah.
So it's like Carnage, but you're not removing it. It's like a better version of Carnage.
Precisely. I've accidentally killed people I was trying to stun with Graviton because I'm like, damn. Yeah,
I've done that too. That stuff is pretty strong.
He's a beast, man. He's a beast. I want to power him up.
A couple different reasons. This could be a very, very big blitz, even though I think some people, including myself, would think this would be off week. Graviton, good character. Fun in the Sun still going on. This could be a pretty high scoring blitz weekend. Other things coming up before this, I guess during the blitz is Relic. Let's go back to Graviton.
Well, no, you were saying it's going to be very high scoring. I don't know how many people are using. There's new blitz predictions. I don't know how many people are using the new blitz predictions, but go tell them not to drive up the scores, and maybe we'll have low scores. I don't have to hear it.
Yes, don't drive up the scores. Let's keep all these blitzes like super low. I would love that.
Yeah.
All right, and I guess now we'll talk about Relic Hunt. This has been one of the worst Flash events for a while, and I haven't done it. I haven't done the math to see how it compares to the challenges, but I know a lot of people are saying the challenges reward a lot better than this Flash. The challenges, they come around 3 times a week, reward a lot better than this Relic Hunt Flash event that comes up once a month. And like I said, I haven't done the math, but is that what have you done the math on this to see how it compares to the challenges? Because this is not a very impressive event.
No, we've talked about this before. I've done like
every single time, every month we talk about this, how bad it is.
Every time it comes up, and I've done quick eyeball math. But basically the other stuff gives you like, so for example, like the gold event, the payday one, gives you a fair amount of the gold that you would need to like max someone out. And the catalyst one, like towards the higher gear tiers, it gives you enough for like half of a gear tier. It's just not the same. So
I thought it was one gear part, not even a whole gear tier.
No, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I think they upped it now, and it's like 150 ABCs, somewhere in that neighborhood. Which the late game items.
That's one.
No, they need like 56. The late game items need like 56. So it's like
I'm thinking the orange. I'm thinking the orange catalyst.
Those.
Yeah.
Those need 9,000. But
how much of an increase do you think they need for this to make it like something that people look forward to whenever it comes around every month? Because right now it's like a couple of extra ABCs, that's cool, but I'm not not like the Chaos Theory or Block Party. I'm like, I need T4s, I need those red star stuff. This is like,
at a minimum, give me enough for like 2/3 of one character. You're releasing 2 to 3 in a month.
Every month. Yeah.
And we have a backlog. It's not like everyone's like, oh, we're just worried about the new characters. Everyone else is exactly where I want them. Like, there's plenty to do. It would not allow people to catch up too crazy. I think people would still buy ABCs and stuff. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
All right, and now it is my favorite time of every single news update. Time for rumors. Now, this one comes a little disclaimer because it's not from the normal sources. Drew hasn't had anything new, and this is not from one of your normal sources that have given you information in the past. But I do find it pretty interesting what you have been hearing. So, what are you able to share with us at this time?
Yep. I will say this is from someone who has shared accurate stuff in the past, but I will say that this is very work in progressy. From what I've heard, this is like this is what's being worked on, and so that it what's being worked on and what ends up getting released may differ. But so specifically talking about the patch after this upcoming one with Squirrel Girl, Beast, and Emma Frost, but patch after next. I'll simply say this: I've heard rumors that we are getting 4 characters, and that they are all part of the same team. They may be part of an existing team, or they may be their own team. But either way, unlike this coming patch where it looks like all the characters will be going their separate ways, patch after that, I think we're getting a bunch of people that are going to be on the same team. So I'll start with that.
Interesting, and I guess we'll continue on with these rumors if they start to gain a little more traction. But as of now, we'll see what happens with it. New source, and hopefully this is another good source that could provide some rumors for some of the future. Right?
I should also mention, actually, this particular source I don't think is my biggest fan, actually. So someone relayed this to me because they heard it from this person. But yeah, so I don't know how much of this information.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with these rumors. Maybe they're good, maybe not. I gotta talk to Drew, see if he has any information on his end. All right, but that is about it for us today, Khasino. Thank you once again for joining me. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Squirrel Girl is a terrible character, and plot armor is not a superpower.
All right, cool. Tell everybody where they can find you, my friend. I think are you still just on YouTube?
No,
I saw you on Twitch the other day, right?
Nope, you can't find me anywhere anymore. I'm in hiding. I'm in Stokely jail.
Hoarding your acorns and for winter or something.
Yes, yeah. I'm in hiding from Squirrel Girl, so don't look for me. You can't find me.
All right. Well, I guess the Whale Wars will look for that, and hopefully it does not mean you being banned from the game. Thank you once again. Check out the links where you can find Khasino down below, Discord, all that stuff, guys. All his events and everything are on there, and then YouTube, Twitch. Thank you guys for joining me on this channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative to you. If you did like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we do at least 4 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel. I got another channel as well. You can check that out for some other games that I play. And social media, Valley merch, and worldwide nutrition. There is a link down below. 25% off if you use the code ValleyFlyin25. Before you go, give me a Hulk fist bump though. Khasino, ValleyFlyin out!